Hello everyone, welcome to the first session of Maths in this newly launched video series, in which we are going to solve a lot of good quality questions from your entire syllabus, which is specifically relevant for the annual exams. So let's say we start with today's assignment, in which there will be 5 questions. Once I share the screen, you have to go through the questions first, pause the video there itself, solve all these questions on your own end, spend at least 10-15 minutes, give your best, and then resume the video from there on. So the purpose is to solve the questions in order to maintain a regular habit of solving such questions from mathematics specifically, and then look at the solutions which I am telling. So the idea is not only to match the correct or incorrect answers, the idea is more deep in nature. You have to understand the thought process, how I approach a particular question, what can be the key areas which we have to think before really writing the answers on the paper. So you have to do more of a thinking part rather than just writing, connect the dots. A lot of topics are related to other topics in the entire syllabus. So that is where we have to strengthen ourselves as well. So once you start solving such questions on a regular basis, maybe after 4 or 5 such assignments, you will realize that you are starting to gain some confidence. And at the same time, you will realize what are your weak areas. So it's very important to note down what are your strong areas and also what are your weak areas, be it any topic or a specific kind of questions that are regularly occurring and you're not able to solve in the first go, or maybe you need to take help, or after even after understanding the solution that I am telling you are not still comfortable about that. So after 4 or 5 such assignments, you will be in a position to identify the key areas of improvement. Definitely you will need to share those areas with me so that we can work on that, and collectively we can improve on those things just before the final exams happen. So this is our overall goal. Make sure whenever the video is released, you have to go through it entirely. Don't skip any part of the video. Don't take any question for granted, even you have solved it. As I said, you have to be very consistent in solving such questions. So we've already done all the chapters. Chapter wise revision is going on. It's almost at the end stage parallelly, which is in the live classes. Now the goal is to compile such questions into an assignment, which will be from the entire syllabus, because in the final exams you have to be comfortable in that way as well. Otherwise it's of no use that you just gain confidence in a particular chapter or a topic and other areas are still lacking. So we have to maintain a very good optimum balance in that. Now I'll be just sharing the screen. As you can see the questions, I'm just scrolling down. And now you can pause the video, give your best shot, and then resume the video again. All right, let us analyze the first question now. Completely out of the box, very few questions you would do in this chapter algebra where you would see the powers of 3. So you know the identities that's relevant for powers of 2. Let's say a plus b whole square is what we know. And obviously we know a minus b whole square, that's in the same category. Another identity that we know is a square minus b square. That might look relevant here, but it's not exactly relevant. So these are the main identities what we have focused on so far. Since this involves a power of 3, we have to somehow make use of lesser known powers which are in our comfort zone. So maybe we know in the form of identities. If you go by the very first identity, this should be the best fit. Let us see how we can approach such a question. A plus b whole cube is nothing but 3 times a plus b. Just understand from that perspective that it can be written 3 times. And if we just compile the first two together, I can make the power as 2, and this is not required then. So maybe this can be rewritten as a plus b whole square into a plus b, purely because a plus b whole square is something that we know perfectly. So whatever we know, we'll just go step by step in that direction. So let's say we know the identity a plus b whole square. We'll now expand it to the best possible criteria, and then we'll see what we can do further. Now, on the next page, there are solutions. I'll refer to those for better clarity. I've written the solutions. It's going to be easy to understand in that way. We have segregated the powers in 2 areas, power of square and power of 1, linear power. And then, as I mentioned, what we know, we just expand the power of 2. A plus b whole square is a square plus b square plus 2ab, and this bracket remains as it is. Now, the basic rule of algebra and factorization both is to take one term at a time. Remember, if you don't know anything after this, no identity fits in, go by the very basic logic of the entire chapter. So let's say A is the single term. It has to go to each and every respective term of the next bracket and get multiplied. And it has to respect the signs between as well. So for example, a goes to a square, multiply हो जाएंगे ये तो a cube हो जाएगा. So first term might be a cube. Similarly, a into b square, ab square हो जाएगा और इनके बीच में the sign should be this plus, exactly copy pasted here as well. The third term should look like a into 2ab, which means 2a square b, because like terms will definitely get multiplied together. So a से हमें ये three terms मिलती हैं. Similarly, b will approach all three respective terms of the second bracket. ऐसे ही हम करके वहां पे three terms यहाँ पे लिख देंगे with the signs in between. In effect, we now get 6 terms, which you see in the next step as well. So we have now 6 terms. Again, what best can you do? You have to now look for the like terms. That's the only possibility, because we cannot add directly all those terms. These look very different, but still you will have to figure out if there are pairs or groups that can be possible. So for example, let's say a cube जैसी कोई भी term इसमें नहीं दिखेगी. There is only another term which is b cube, but since the bases are different, देखो bases different है, power same है, they cannot really be added together. So हम उनको बस अलग से एक जगह पे साथ में लिख देते हैं. So this is how in the next step we can write them together. So a cube and b cube from the previous step have been picked here. Now coming back to this a b square, अब हमें एक ऐसी term identify करनी है जिसमें a linear हो और b 2 की पावर में हो. So just keep looking at all these terms. a और b square के factors होने चाहिए. The very last term of this expression is such, यानी कि इन दोनों की एक पेयरिंग बन जाएगी. ab square plus 2ab square should give us 3ab square. That's why we have written this like this. Similarly, अब हम देखते हैं a square b का factor कहाँ पे repeat हो रहा है. So यहाँ पे and यहाँ पे these two together can be clubbed and 3a square b can be written here. So till this step, we'll see that this area finally can give us better results, because of हम simply add नहीं कर सकते as we spoke. So we just take things common from this. So understand this question from the point of view of factorization. जैसे आपको बोला जाए कि इसको factorize करना है, we will take terms outside of the bracket, whatever common terms you can. So 3 definitely is common, and a and b are also common because हमें minimum power उनमें से intake करनी है. So 3ab I can take common. Inside the bracket it is b plus a. This is the final step. You have to also realize why this is the final step, because अगर आप इसी bracket को आप open करोगे तो वापस से वही आ जाएगा. There is no use of going ahead. इसका हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. a cube plus b cube आपस में add नहीं हो सकते. So definitely this is the final step. We cannot proceed ahead. Now in class 9th maths, same chapter will be repeated, and this as an identity will be taught to you. Just like a plus b whole square you have been taught, a plus b whole cube will be taught to you, whose expression will look like this itself. So basically, if you realize this is the entire derivation of it, you need not cram it. It's very much logical. If you can do it in class 8th, definitely in class 9th, we will find it much easier. So that's a good idea to go one step ahead as well. So similarly, if I talk about a minus b whole cube, I can consider it as a minus b, a minus b, a minus b 3 times. So if I'll just combine the first two groups, a minus b whole square it will be, यानी कि पिछले एक्सप्रेशन में अगर हम देखें तो सिर्फ माइनस के साइन आ जाएंगे प्लस की जगह. तो अब हम इसको एक्सपैंड करते हैं. सारा प्रोसेस बिल्कुल सेम रहेगा फर्स्ट केस जैसा. एक्सपैंड करेंगे, प्लस माइनस वील टेक केयर ऑफ, एंड फाइनली वील रियलाइज दैट वी रीच दिस स्टेज. Only a difference of negative sign here as compared to the first case. So automatically negative sign here as well. So automatically you will see every other term looks very much symmetrical. Sari terms as it is aa rahi hain, just a change of sign at 2 places while this sign remains the same. You need not cram at all. At the moment you just have to understand the basics. Agar ye question 8th ke final exams mein aata hai, to you have to approach in the given method. Now, second question was about successive discounts, which a lot of students can relate to shopping centers. A lot of companies these days, give these kind of discounts, you would see sometimes in very large font it is written outside of the showroom that 50% plus 50% discount is applicable to the items that you are purchasing. So as a consumer, you might tend to think if 50 plus 50 to 100 hota hai, and it's a deceiving kind of a statement that it looks like it's absolutely free. Definitely it cannot be possible, they cannot give it for free. So we have to realize that we have to approach this question into two steps. फर्स्ट स्टेप पे हम इमेजिन करते हैं कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ एक ही डिस्काउंट एप्लीकेबल था, एज पर द क्वेश्चन टू 10% डिस्काउंट एप्लीकेबल था, तो 950 रुपीज के टैग प्राइस पे हम 10% एप्लीकेबल लगाते हैं. यू कैन डू इट बाय एस्टिमेशन मेथड एज वेल. 10% ऑफ 950 शुड बी 95 इफ यू जस्ट प्लेस अ डेसिमल हियर. सो इस एमपी पे से डिस्काउंटेड अमाउंट को अगर आप सब्ट्रैक्ट कर दोगे तो जो भी अमाउंट आएगा, दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू पे. दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस इन शॉपिंग मॉल्स एज वेल. If you buy a pair of clothes, you will just see tag price, फिर उसमें से आप डिस्काउंट को लेस कर दोगे, जो भी अमाउंट बचेगा you will pay it to the cashier. यहाँ पे एक डिफरेंस ये है कि जो आपका ये फाइनल सेलिंग प्राइस आया, ये एक्चुअली फाइनल नहीं है बिकॉज 10% फर्दर एप्लीकेबल होना है. सो अब ये जो अमाउंट 855 आया है, इस पे you will apply 10% again, as you can see here. Again you can use estimation method. यहाँ पर डेसिमल लगाओ, so you will get 85.5 as the 10% amount, जिसको आप subtract कर सकते हो, and finally 769.5 rupees में you can sell it. So that's how we look at these questions. इसी का एक alternate method भी है कुछ बुक्स में, हायर लेवल बुक्स में. एनसीईआरटी में नहीं है ये टॉपिक सक्सेसिव मेथड्स का, सक्सेसिव डिस्काउंट्स का, तो उनमें ये फॉर्मूला पुटअप होता है. यू कैन जस्ट डायरेक्टली पुट द वैल्यूज हियर. इफ यू सी, यू कैन फाइनली find the selling price directly. Just put up the values of the two discounts applicable, D1 and D2. इस केस में दोनों इक्वल थे, 10% each. It may not be necessary कि हमेशा ऐसा हो. 30% plus 10% भी हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. So just put the values of D. Even they have adjusted a factor of 100 in the denominator. तो आपको परसेंटेज वाले साइन को एडजस्ट भी नहीं करना. रेडीमेड फॉर्मूला है, as you can see on the right hand side. They have just put up the values and you will still get the final answer. But I wouldn't really recommend this method because no need to cram another formula if you can go by the basics. उसमें भी कोई बहुत ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगने वाला. थर्ड क्वेश्चन, इट्स अ केस ऑफ यूनिटरी मेथड. फर्स्ट हम इसको बेसिक्स से ही समझते हैं कि अगर हम 5 लीटर्स ऑफ पेट्रोल में 80 किलोमीटर ट्रैवल कर पा रहे हैं, so what about then 1 liter? Simply divide 80 upon 5, you will get 16 as the final answer of division. And then if you have to talk about 15 liters of petrol, just multiply this in the next step, yani ki 16 into 15, or you can simply say 80.5 into 15, your answer will be 240 kilometers. This is one of the easiest questions, by the way, but there is a reason that I have put in here. First of all, you have to realize, जब भी आप unitary method use करो, second step पे जो भी आप fraction achieve करते हो, जैसे 80/5 है, ट्राई कि आप उसको वहां पे सिंप्लीफाई ना करो. मैंने यहाँ पे 16 ब्रैकेट में इसीलिए लिखा है बिकॉज आई एम नॉट रिकमेंडिंग कि आप इसको 16 कैलकुलेट करो. इट्स जस्ट दैट फॉर आवर नॉलेज वी शुड नो कि हाँ ये आंसर आया था. द एडवांटेज ऑफ सच अ थिंग इज दैट 80/5 into 15 at the last step will give us a benefit of cancelling these numbers. It will be a much easier calculation as compared to 16 into 15. यहाँ पे आपका 3 का फैक्टर आया, 80 into 3 240. ये कोई भी ओरली कर सकता है. While you might face slight problem, or you might just invest some time in multiplying 16 into 15. So it's a better way. Another way to approach this question, I'm sure you would have thought about it, is the approach of direct and inverse proportion. Direct inverse proportion कहीं ना कहीं unitary method based ही होता है, तभी मैंने पहले सिर्फ unitary method से समझाएगा. So you just make a table here, 2 rows, define the variables x and y. So let's say हमने fuel को x define कर दिया है, so there are 2 cases of fuel, 5 and 15. तो ये x1 हो जाएगा 5, 15 हो जाएगा x2, क्योंकि हम x को ऐसे वर्टिकली डाउनवर्ड्स देख रहे हैं. सिमिलरली y इज वर्टिकली डाउनवर्ड्स इन द सेकंड कॉलम, तो ये y1 हो जाएगा 80, एंड व्हाट वी डोंट नो इज y2, सो दैट इज द वेरिएबल टू बी फाउंड. सिंपल फॉर्मूला होता है डायरेक्ट प्रोपोर्शन का, विच इज दिस एज पर द एनसीईआरटी. आप सिर्फ वैल्यूज यहाँ पे पुट करो, 5/80 is equal to 15/y2. You just cross multiply things and you will get the same answer as compared to the previous case. Now, you must realize why this question was of direct proportion, although this is one of the easiest questions. अब इसको real life से भी आप relate कर सकते हो. It's basically about the mileage of your car. जितना पेट्रोल आप ज्यादा फिल करोगे अपनी कार में, it is highly likely कि वो उतना ज्यादा ट्रैवल करेगी. अगर 5 लीटर्स में कुछ डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल करा है तो डेफिनेटली 3 टाइम्स अगर पेट्रोल आप इंक्रीज कर दोगे तो किलोमीटर्स भी 3 टाइम्स हो जानी चाहिए। इसको हम ऐसे भी अप्रोच कर सकते हैं, पेट्रोल अगर 3 टाइम्स हो रहा है 5 और 15 के बीच में इंटू 3 का मार्जिन है, तो यहाँ पे भी इंटू 3 होना चाहिए था एंड 240 आंसर आ सकता था। So let's say this question comes in your entrance exams or Olympiads in your future. You need not even do this much. Orally ये questions किए जा सकते हैं. Next question was of a graph. Very interesting question this. They are mentioning about a square in which only two vertices they have mentioned and the rest two we have to figure out ourselves. In first go, you might tend to think कि कैसे पता चलेगा बाकी दो vertices के बारे में, but once you just draw the coordinates and you just plot the two vertices, like A is the origin here and another was given as 2, 0 in the question, so आपने वो x-axis पे plot कर दी because यहाँ पे y coordinate 0 है, that means it will lie on the x-axis. So अगर आपको ये दो points पता हैं, तो यहाँ से एक idea होता है कि दो vertices, जो दो adjacent vertices होती हैं, उनके बीच का जो डिस्टेंस है दैट शुड बी द साइड एंड सिंपली यहाँ पे वो 2 यूनिट्स का डिस्टेंस है एंड स्क्वायर विल हैव ऑल द साइड्स एज इक्वल। तो अगर आपने यहाँ पे 2 यूनिट्स की साइड बना दी, यू कैन योरसेल्फ मेक 2 यूनिट्स अपवर्ड्स। तो यहाँ पे एक एंड होगा यानी कि अनदर वर्टेक्स यू कैन फाइंड हियर, फिर यहाँ से यू कैन गो टू द लेफ्ट, automatically this will come as 2 units because it is a symmetrical figure and just close the loop, all sides will automatically adjust for 2 units. So this is the kind of square we can make. इसमें एक पॉसिबिलिटी ये भी थी कि आप स्क्वायर को पहले यहाँ पे बनाओ एंड यू टेक इट डाउनवर्ड्स इफ द क्वेश्चन डजंट मेंशन कि सारे कोऑर्डिनेट्स पॉजिटिव हैं। दिस इज अ डिफरेंट वे ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि हम यहाँ पे भी एक चीज कर सकते थे। सो टू शेप्स कुड हैव बीन पॉसिबल ईदर इन द फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट और द फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट। नाउ द फर्स्ट आंसर वाज सिंपल, 2 यूनिट्स हमारा मेजरमेंट आ गई एक साइड की। द अदर टू वर्टिसेस नाउ यू हैव टू फाइंड। लेट्स से सी की बात करें तो if you draw the graph properly, you will simply realize that it has to be 2, 2 and the last vertex which lies on the y-axis. तो एक चीज तो पक्का है कि यहाँ पे x coordinate 0 होगा, this is it, and this much automatically will come as 2. You need not even use the graph paper, you can do it yourself. Third part is more interesting in which you have to find the hypotenuse, basically the distance between A and C. अगर आप A और C के बीच को join करते हो, you may realize that it is a case of a right angle triangle, यानी कि एक स्क्वायर डायगोनल से 2 राइट एंगल ट्रायंगल्स में डिवाइड होता है which are congruent to each other, जिसमें हमें पता है कि दोनों साइड्स 2 and 2 each हैं because स्क्वायर की साइड्स इक्वल है and we have to find hypotenuse. So यहाँ पे हम पाइथागोरस थ्योरम अप्लाई करते हैं, h square should be equal to 2 square plus 2 square. 2 square is nothing but 4, यानी कि दोनों जगह 4 plus 4 आ जाएगा which is 8. So if h square is 8 then h should be equal to root 8, and if it is root 8 तो अब how can we connect the dots here? हम पढ़ रहे हैं ग्राफ का चैप्टर, नाउ स्क्वायर्स एंड स्क्वायर रूट्स कॉन्सेप्ट विल बी एप्लीकेबल हियर। अगर हमें स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ 8 निकालना है तो द बेस्ट मेथड इज कि हम इसकी प्राइम फैक्टराइजेशन कर दें एंड वो करते ही हम यहाँ पे पेयर्स बनाना शुरू कर दें। So let's say 2 and 2 का एक पेयर बन गया, they will come outside and only one will be the representative of them. So you have to consider it as a team participating in a sport, but after post match जो presentation होती है उसमें कोई भी ceremony होती है तो only the captain or the representative of the team will be coming ahead. So 2 will come outside and the inside 2 will remain as it is क्योंकि उसका कोई पेयर नहीं बना. So this is going to be the final answer. Then, if you go back to the fifth question, इस क्वेश्चन को कैसे समझना है? यहाँ पे दो टर्म्स गिवन है विच आर स्क्वायर इंडिविजुअली. अगर यही ए स्क्वायर माइनस बी स्क्वायर की फॉर्म में होती तो शायद हम ए प्लस बी इंटू ए माइनस बी करके कुछ कर सकते थे. जस्ट टेलिंग यू, बट दिस टाइम दे आर गिविंग यू एन इंफॉर्मेशन जहाँ पे प्लस का साइन है. देयर इज नो सच आइडेंटिटी जिसमें इंडिविजुअल टर्म्स स्क्वायर हो रही हैं और ऐड हो रही हैं. रादर इससे मिलती जुलती जो एक्सप्रेशन है जो सब फिगर आउट कर सकते हैं is a plus b whole square, which is nothing but a square plus b square and then finally 2ab. Coming back to this, अगर हम यहाँ पे इन दोनों एक्सप्रेशंस को देखें तो ये कहीं ना कहीं a square plus b square जैसे दिख रहे हैं. That means what we know from the entire identity is that this much is given to us. एंड वी हैव टू फाइंड a प्लस बी सॉर्ट ऑफ अ थिंग, जो लीनियर फॉर्म में जिसमें कोई पावर नहीं है, यानी कि हमें ये इनसाइड ऑफ द ब्रैकेट फाइंड करना है. So how do we approach such a question? If somehow you are able to find the RHS completely, मान लो एक इंस्टेंस ऐसा आता है कि a प्लस बी होल स्क्वायर 100 के इक्वल आ गया और आपको फाइंड a प्लस बी करना है, तो द बेस्ट वे इज टू डिवाइड द पार्ट्स बाय हाफ, जिसको बोलते हैं टेकिंग स्क्वायर रूट ऑन बोथ द साइड्स. यानी कि आपकी जो भी पार्ट्स है एलएचएस और आरएचएस पे, दोनों को अपॉन 2 कर दिया, पार्ट्स को, एक्सपोनेंट्स को. So ये 2/2 कैंसिल होके 1 दे देगा, which is simply a plus b. That's the best possibility. And ये 100 का स्क्वायर रूट हो गया, which is 10. So simply a plus b is equal to 10 आंसर आ गया. This is how exactly we'll approach the given question. क्योंकि हमें लीनियर में आंसर निकालना है. यानी कि हमारा चैलेंज a plus b या a plus b स्क्वायर नहीं है, हमारा चैलेंज है 2ab का फैक्टर. Is there a way we can find the value of 2ab? क्या वो गिवन है क्वेश्चन में? Definitely not. बट इफ यू रियलाइज, यहाँ पे जो हमारे a और b होंगे वो x एंड 1/x रिस्पेक्टिवली होंगे. तो जब आप 2 इंटू a इंटू b करोगे, तो द बेस्ट थिंग दैट विल हैपन हियर इज कि वो x के इंडिपेंडेंट हो जाएगा एंड इट्स वैल्यू विल बिकम 2 itself. We'll see that in the solution in detail. Like here I've used this identity. First step, very first step you could have figured out कि ये x और x तो कैंसिल हो रहे हैं, यहाँ पे सिर्फ 2 का फैक्टर बच रहा है. एंड दिस थिंग इज ऑलरेडी गिवन टू यू एज 23. So 23 plus 2 it will be 25. So this step can be achieved very quickly. And as I said, x plus 1/x square अगर आपको गिवन है लेकिन आपको लीनियर में आंसर निकालना है, तो सिंपली टेक द स्क्वायर रूट. यानी कि यहाँ पे भी पावर हाफ हो जाएगी, यहाँ पे भी हाफ हो जाएगी. They would have got simplified. तो वो स्टेप मैंने यहाँ शो नहीं करा है. And 25 का स्क्वायर रूट इज प्लस माइनस 5. रिमेंबर दिस वन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, जब भी आप स्क्वायर रूट लेते हो तो आरएचएस पे व्हाटएवर इज द नंबर, it should obtain plus and minus both values. So that will be it for today's class. Make sure the next video, once it is released, to go through each and every question in detail. Thank you.